Okay, I just want to have a little talk about this 80-20 rule that gets talked about in the manosphere on YouTube sometimes, okay? And that is the belief that women are only ever go for the top 20% of men, okay? As in, the belief is that the belief of some people is that the majority of women are only attracted to the top 20% of men and totally ignore like 80% of men, okay? And some people's beliefs about this is to do with, like, it was some OK Cupid survey, which I believe has been deleted now. And this was, like, apparently showing that, like, if women were marking men's, like, appearance, that women were only finding, like, 20% of men attractive, okay? Even though the survey did show that although, like, women only, like, found 20% of men attractive, women were actually messaging guys that were like who they considered to be average, okay? And also surveys have shown that if women are asked to rate their own appearance, they rate themselves as average as well, okay? But anyway, there's that survey, and you know there's a lot of talk in general, okay, in the manosphere about women's standards being too high, women ignoring the majority of men, and always dating Chad. Okay, this is this gets mentioned quite a lot, that women always go for Chad. Women will only date Chad. If ever a woman gets cheated on, they'll always say, oh, it's because she went with Chad, or if she's been in a bad relationship, it's always, oh, your fault because you chose Chad, okay? So this Chad gets the blame for everything, okay? If anybody has a child, don't name it, and it's boy, don't name him Chad, okay? He'll get the blame for everything, okay? But anyway, like, just a few little things about this, like, sort of 80-20 rule thing, that I kind of think, doesn't quite sort of fully make sense to me, okay? Now, first of all, if people are going to say that women, go for the top percent of men, well, first of all, like, what makes somebody a top man, like the best man, well, it's a matter of opinion, okay? Because a lot of people in the manosphere, they talk about women as if, like, we're all identical, you know, like women all like just think the same way, like women are just like one thing, like once you've met one woman, that's it, you know, we're all the same. When we're not, we're individuals, and what, you know, one person's idea of like who they would want to date, it would be different from another woman's. I mean, there are generalised traits, obviously. Anyway, when people sort of complain about women being attracted to the top men again, there's some people who seem to think it's like about money and job status. It's always like, oh, women are all gold diggers, women will only go for men that are high earners, women will only go for men who've got good jobs. There's guys like that, okay? And then there's those who think everything's about looks. They're like, oh, you know, women will only go for a man who's more attractive than them, or who's the most best looking. Okay. And then there's those that think that women all like bad boys. It's like, well, you know, women will all go for the biggest douches and the biggest assholes. And like that. This is the kind of complaints. And it's like, I mean, honestly, I don't agree that, like, I don't agree that all women value job status and earnings, okay? I don't agree that all women are super fussy about looks either. You know, I'm not saying these things don't help at all. I mean, you know, there has to be some attraction, yeah, and obviously good-looking people, obviously it's easier for them in the dating world, yeah. And, you know, I'm not denying that women have, like, an instinct, they say, for the best protector, provider, Okay, but I don't think that's the same as saying that every woman cares about, like, how high up the guy is, in the corporate ladder, or how much the guy earns. I don't think that's, like, every woman's priority. And I don't agree that most women go for assholes, okay? I think there are some women who do, yeah. But those women, they normally have issues themselves. Like, I mean, sometimes damaged people attract other damaged people. Like, you say, like, with abusive relationships. Like, so, you know, sometimes it's two violent people together, okay? Because they've both had sort of trauma in their past, and they're both damaged people. And sometimes damaged people attract other damaged people. Or sometimes people who pick abusive partners, it can be I think that they've got low self-esteem and they don't think they can do any better. Or, as some people have said, they think, like, if a woman hasn't had a stable father figure in their life, they sometimes maybe pick not that good men because, well, they already have a low opinion of men if they've not had good male role models in their life. So, okay, there are some women who will go for guys that are total douchebags, yeah, but no, I don't think that's the majority, okay. But the main issue that I sort of have with this thing where people complain about this 80-20 rule and this claim that women ignore the, like, 80% of men and only focus on the top 20%. Main issue I have with that is that a lot of the time, these guys who complain about that, they are only focusing on the top 20% of women, okay? And what I mean is like, when they say, like, a lot of, like, criticism and anger towards women in the manosphere, and these guys, or they'll be complaining that women are vain and women are narcissistic and women are only going for Chad and that women are ignoring, like, 80% of men and all this kind of stuff. And I kind of think, like, if you go and, like, just drag some, like, random strange women off the street, you know, just close your eyes, you know, just close your eyes and just grab, like, just some random women off of the street, okay, so you've just got a collection of, like, average women walking down the street. Are you telling me that these women are all vain narcissists that are all going for the top 20% of Chad men, are you? It's like, no, it's like when you're complaining, when these guys are complaining about women all going for, like, the top Chad men, they have in their brains, in their imaginations, women who are, in fact, the top most desirable women, okay? Which I kind of think, well, if we got top women going for the top men, is that not, like, equal, you know? But anyway, I know some people will then say, like, yeah, but there's, like, average women who, they still think that they're entitled to Chad. They want to go out with Chad. They don't want to go out with the average guy. It's like, okay, I have known guys, right, who are, like, in their 50s, or maybe older, even older than that, who are, like, not exactly, like, even attractive, like, for their age, who, like, will hit on, like, young, attractive women, like, in their 20s, like, say, and then, if the women aren't interested, they then, like, go on about, how the women are too fussy. And the women, like, think too much of themselves, and the women have got too high standards. Okay. Now, I know, like, people might say, like, oh yeah, but men don't fancy, like, women that are 50 years old. Okay. But, fair enough, but, like, the hot 20-year-old women like, do have a right, like, if they want to say that they prefer to go out with guys closer to their own age if they want to, okay? You know, they have their right to their preference as well. Because I know, okay, some women will go for guys, like, a bit older than them. But, I kind of think a lot of, like, say, like, young, hot women, they're probably not going to want to go out with, like, with somebody who is, like, old enough to be their dad, okay? Not all of them. Alright. And that they have their right to their preference as well. And like, you know, you get some guys, they say things like, oh, you know, even when I was at high school, I noticed that, you know, the girls, they were all dating Chad, and they were all being passed around just by these few, like, top, guys at school who, you know, all just happened to be named Chad, okay? And again, I'm thinking, well, these girls that at the school that were dating Chad, okay, were these girls the geeky girls in school? Like the shy girls, the overweight girls? It's like, no. They're all the Staces, right? They're the attractive girls, like, because you can say that, like, oh yeah, but these girls, these attractive girls, they were only going for, like, you know, these attractive and popular girls, they were only going for, like, the top guys, but those top guys weren't, likewise, they weren't going for, like, women that were at the bottom, were they? They're only going for the women at the top. And you notice that when people, like, talk about, like, the sexes, in the manosphere, red pill community, whatever you want to, say, describe it as, they never think that, like, women have issues, women and girls have issues, like, being shy, being insecure, like, not being the popular girls and stuff like that. They never think that, right? Because they themselves are, in fact, ignoring, like, 80% of women and only, like, focusing on the top 20% of women, okay, which is ironic because that is what they're accusing women of doing, okay, and, no, I'm not criticising men, for what they're attracted to, okay, I'm just pointing out the irony here about how they sit there complaining, these women, they don't notice 80% of men, they only notice 20% because they're so full of themselves, I'm thinking, but you're only looking at the top 20% of women, okay? And then out of, like, even out of the top, say, 20% of women, right? If you take, like, I don't know, 20% of the most attractive women, okay? Even out of that, they're still not all going to be shallow and all horrible and all gold diggers and all this, okay? So when, you know, like, some guys, they sit here saying, oh, women are bloody full of themselves and all women think that they're something special and they think this and they think that, they're sort of, like, taking their anger out on just, like, a few sort of bitchy women that they've come in contact with, and they're blaming, and they're sort of judging all, like, 100% of women on those few women that have got on their nerves before, you see. Which you'll find that if women do that, if women complain about some men being douches, again, you'll get the usual, yeah, but you shouldn't have picked him comment, you know, women, you're wrong if you pick a douchey guy, but men aren't wrong if they pick a bitchy woman, okay. And as well, when you get people who say things like, you talk about incels, okay, now incels are mostly men, okay, there is a problem with, incel community growing, but, like, people always say, like, they say, women can't be incels, you know, women can't be incels, because even if, like, they're really ugly, I mean, a woman can still get somebody to have sex with her. It's like, yeah, that's most probably true, that even if a woman is, like, really ugly, she probably could find somebody to be willing to have sex with her, yeah, okay. If you're just talking about getting sex, yeah, okay. But certain things like, they call them mental cells, okay, in the incel community. Mental cells. It's like guys who have trouble have trouble finding a partner because of maybe mental illness or autism or severe social anxiety or agoraphobia. Like one guy, he said he's agoraphobic, he's frightened to go out, and like some of them are frightened to speak to people, and they have, suffer like with their nerves. Okay. And again, I kind of think like, do people think that these things like they can't affect women? Like, I mean, I know, okay, autism is something that affects more males than females, although it can affect females, but do you think that there's no women out there in the world who suffer from severe social anxiety, shyness, agoraphobia? That there's no women out there that, like, they might be, like, in the same boat as these mental cells that we all assume are men because, again, when people complain about women in the dating world, they're just thinking about Stacey. They're all like, oh, but women are so spoiled and privileged because they're all the Stacys and they're all sleeping with the Chads and they're all bloody perfect and have everything perfect, and women are so bloody spoiled. And like, if somebody says, well, what about, women that are incels? It's like, oh, women can't be incels. It's like, they can't have issues like that then. There's no women in the world that have issues like that, okay? I don't agree with the way that, like, feminists always make out that men are so privileged and men have everything so easy. Okay. But I disagree with it, like, sometimes when some people in the manosphere are like, oh, women are so privileged and women have everything so easy. It's like, unless you know somebody, you don't know what struggles they have in their life, okay, and men and women have, separate issues, but the grass is always greener on the other side. It's like, some people of both genders think, like, the opposite sex have got everything so much better than them, So again, it's like, yeah, people, when a lot of this bitching and complaining about how horrible women are, it's like they're judging women on the Stacys, judging women on the top 20%, which, and the complaint is that these women are judging men on the top 20%, and that these women are ignoring 80% of men, even though they're only focusing on the 20% of women when they complain about women, okay? And I've seen these comments before where they say, like, oh, unless you're, if you're a man, unless you're, a millionaire or have got a six-pack, you don't have a chance with women. And again, I'm thinking, like, how can somebody say that? It's like, right, are most men who are married or in relationships, are they millionaires? No. Are they rich? No. Do they have six-packs? No. Do they look like male models? No. Okay? So the claim that, like, you can't get a girlfriend unless you're a millionaire and have a six-pack is a load of rubbish, really, isn't it? Unless what you're saying is, I don't have a chance with a woman who looks like a supermodel unless I'm a millionaire, I've got a six-pack. It was, okay, so you're aiming for the top woman then. Which is fine. That's absolutely fine, not criticising that. But don't sit there and say that it's wrong that if she wants the top man, if you want the top woman. Okay. Well, anyway, that's all I have to say about that for now. Thank you for listening.